Today we're filming the rally scenes from episode 6. I'm Adam Tandy, I'm the producer of Detectorists. So this is the culmination of the Danebury Metal Detecting Club's year, their annual event where they get everybody together and some of their friends from other clubs to detect on a site. And as you know, the story of the second series is about trying to identify that site and find somewhere to do the rally.
My name's Jim Reed and I'm one of the exec producers on Detectorists. We've known Mackenzie for a long, long time. In fact, he was the host of a show we did called Comedy Cafe in the late 90s, which was a comedy entertainment, a comedy magazine show that he did in character. He had a character called Charlie Cheese and he hosted that. And so he's someone we talked to quite a lot about scripted ideas, but he's always been busy. And I think for someone like him, he doesn't just do things for the sake of doing things, he does them when they're right. And a couple of years ago, we talked to him about scripted ideas, and Detectorists was the idea that he had. So we worked on that. A woman who works for us called Sally Martin worked on him with that for quite a while until we built up the script to the stage where we were ready to show people.
Obviously, you don't start making something hoping to get awards. When we were nominated for 2 BAFTAs, I was shocked and amazed and thrilled. And then when we won them, I couldn't quite believe it. That our little low-key comedy could get that sort of attention. Yeah.
I was so proud to see Mackenzie and Adam up there, and Toby. That was wonderful. It's just such a beautiful piece of writing. I think this series, Mackenzie's excelled himself with the writing again. It's just a wonderful thing to be a part of something that's written like that, and all the characters. You're kind of intrigued in this world. I love the world that they're in. And the fact that this series involves a stranger. It has another dimension, as it were.
No one did the job because they had to do the job. They all did it because they really had faith in the writing, and it's great when other people share that enthusiasm for the writing. So in some sense it takes a bit of pressure off. But then as soon as you start working again, you realise it's actually put more pressure on.
It was a great shot in the arm, I think. To see him get the nod for it was a real treat.
Thank you so much, BAFTA. That's wonderful. I've never won anything before, apart from a food processor in 1986, and that looks ridiculous on my mantelpiece. It's massive. It's an absolute honour to be nominated in the same category as those 3 other shows that are genuinely my favourite shows on television at the moment. So if I had to choose between the 4 of them, I would have probably chosen Detectorists like the judges ultimately did. But my point is, it would have been a difficult decision, even for me, and I imagine it was for the judges.
It just feels like there's a massive buzz around it now. None of us were expecting it. It was just this wonderful, charming piece, and we were chuffed. I'm really excited to be back.
We knew it was a good show. We knew the scripts were good. The actors were great in it. Mackenzie did a brilliant job as a director. It was a very beautiful, lyrical kind of look to it, quite unlike other comedies. But you never know what other people are going to think. So it's gratifying. I mean, to be honest, it's great winning awards. This is just a show that my mates, none of whom work in television, really like. And most of the things I've been involved with, they don't like. So for me, that's very gratifying. But it's a great achievement for Mackenzie and all the other people on the crew.
Before we screened the first series, I think the Detectorist community, well, a sizable minority of them were apprehensive. I think they thought we were going to poke fun at them.
I was keeping an eye on the forums and everything, and there was a lot of people were worried that we were going to take the mickey out of them, portray them in a bad light, but they soon saw that wasn't what was happening.
We celebrate it, and as a result, we've had nothing but, we've become their champions in a way.
The Detectorist community as a whole have been really happy with it. There's been letters from people, because it doesn't mock anyone. That's why I think it's such a lovely show, in that it sort of represents a slice of sort of British life, the sort of middle ground. The people in it, they're not yobs, they're not aristocrats, they're not careerists, they're not geniuses, but they're not stupid, and they're decent people. And I don't know whether it's just a thing with people from the English-speaking world, but we do like our hobbies. And a lot of British people who perhaps aren't so good at expressing themselves emotionally like going out on a field on their own or going into their garden shed and getting on with their hobby. They're not harming anyone.
We spent quite a long time thinking about what the second series should be, and plotting it out with Mackenzie took a while, and then once we've identified the themes and the storyline, Mackenzie was off and running, and it didn't take him very long to write the scripts at all.
It was recommissioned whilst the first series was going out, and I knew that there was enough there to at least do a second series. So yeah, I was very happy to do that.
I have to say, I think the scripts for this one, partly because he doesn't have to establish the characters. You get to find out more about more people and indeed introduce more characters. So in that way, when I read them, I thought, oh, this is great. It feels like the writing's become more expansive in a way.
Well, we're so lucky because we're filming in this amazing place in sort of all in and around Suffolk, and it's just a privilege to be in the countryside and employed. So I'm like, oh, how lucky is that?
For us, like just today, having the detectors and just walking is just so glorious. It's the most beautiful place.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. You have to pinch yourself really that you know. We're so lucky to be doing this job.
I think we spent most of our time in a scout hall last year, but it is in a lovely area. But you are in a small sort of town hall. Whereas now, I don't think we were outdoors last season.
No, we weren't outdoors at all.
And now this season we're actually detecting and walking around this beautiful place. Detecting. Can you cut over that? Thanks.
This is all part of the same farm that we shot most of the outdoor scenes of the second series on. It's in the south of Suffolk, quite close to Ipswich. It's owned by a lovely gentleman by the name of William, who's been very kind and has shown us all sorts of interesting bits of wildlife that we've been busy filming when we aren't filming proper actors.
And it's been a real learning curve. It's been very interesting. Find out how they film things. Well, our family's been here for a bit over 90 years, and my grandfather came here in 1924, having been gassed in the First World War, and was told he had to have an outdoor life if he wanted to survive. So that's how we all came to be here, really. It's an all-arable farm, essentially, but where we're standing right at the moment is a sort of light land, a sandy outcrop within the farm, which isn't farmed because it's such poor land. And it's now lending itself very handily to a film crew instead. But it has a very diverse amount of wildlife on it, very interesting grasses and a lot of wild flowers and plants, a lot of interesting insects and birds here.
Some of these extra actors are tiny insects. In the last week, all of the insects in Suffolk have decided to hatch out and come and visit us.
There's a lot of insects. We're shooting slightly later in the year this year, and there's these tiny little cabbage stem flea beetles that are just swarming around everyone, and the Lance's yellow TR7 is just covered with them all the time. So whether they'll pick up on camera or not, I'm not sure, but yeah, they're a pain.
I'm Gerard Horan, and I play Terry. Today I was up at 5:15, shower and a shave, quick look at the lines. We got in the car to get here, about 5 of us, we left at 6 o'clock. Bit of breakfast, get the moustache stuck on. This year it's, spoiler alert, not my own this year. Obviously mine's much darker, they've made me prematurely grey. Got the moustache put on, and then we've been filming ever since, pretty much. I had a little nap at lunchtime, and then back for more. But beautiful day, beautiful place to be.
My name's Laura and I play Louise.
I'm Orion and I play Varda.
It's Neolithic, for Christ's sake!
No, don't. Let's just put that on the eyes over the table, shall we?
Get up! We are partners in the series. We I don't know how long we've been together, but yeah, we're both keen on metal detectoring.
Yeah. Always together.
Always together. Louise is quite serious as a person, not just about the hobby, but I think she sort of treats it a bit like an army drill. Life in general. She's very serious and she's quite bossy, probably slightly controlling.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure she's very well liked in the group either. That's something I'd have to ask the other actors. But yeah, and Varda is...
Varda's very quiet, I think, probably out of choice.
She didn't speak in the whole first series.
No.
But this series she does.
This series, Varda said something. I think it was...
We shouldn't just say something, she
yeah,
does like a big
very
monologue.
important, yeah. So I think it was more of a choice. And also, if Louise speaks for her, she kind of doesn't feel the need to.
Yeah, all right, Varda, let someone else get a word in.
Yeah, in the first series you kind of felt that she probably didn't speak English, but I think it was just a choice. She's quite quiet, isn't she? She chooses not to speak, so yeah.
I mean, after you have your hair and makeup and you get onto set, you're just kind of waiting around.
Yeah, you arrive, you have breakfast and you hair, makeup, get ready, and then some days feel slower than others, and it depends how busy you are in the scene. So if you've got lots to do, you can feel like the day goes really quick, but if you feel like you've got less to do, it can feel like you just sat around having a chat, really. It's quite nice. But yeah, it's very stoppy-starty, and it's a lot of waiting as well involved.
Yeah, until the end when we have a drink.
Until then, and then we have a drink, always. Yeah.
I play a character called Hugh, also referred to as Young Hugh. He's one of the quieter characters. And he's a very beloved member of the DMDC. He's into shrapnel and aviation and just random bits and pieces.
My character's called Russell, and he's another member of the DMDC, and he's very mysterious and handsome, and we don't really know very much about him. And just whenever he comes into the room, there's always a frisson of excitement.
Actors and crew members across the world to say we wake up far too early, but it's a necessity. And then we get driven down. If we're in Framingham, then it's like 30-second drive, and if we're here, then it's like an hour's drive. Then we either go into the makeup truck or the wardrobe truck. Not before you enter, especially if he's in. And then breakfast. We usually have 2 breakfasts. So we have one where we're staying, and then we have another one when we get here. So it's not too bad. Although you just said you were hungry, and we just came
starving.
back. We just had lunch.
I know, and this afternoon I've got to eat real hot dogs in the scene, and I've been advised, go to look as if you're about to eat it, but don't eat it. Otherwise, if you eat it, you'll be sick of the sight of hot dogs for the rest of your life, because you'll have to eat so many.
Yeah.
So, but I'm so hungry now, I think I'm going to chance it.
Definitely.
Tell Russell to get up here, put his hand in his pocket and buy a new fleece, would you?
He's right there. I'm not in that scene, but I'll probably have a hot dog anyway.
My name is Sophie Thompson, and my character name is Sheila. Sheila inhabits a world of her own to some degree. She is married to Terry Geratoran, who's the head of the Detectress group, and she is just wonderfully in a world of her own. She's quite mysterious. We find a little bit more about her in this series, what might have made her create her own little environment where she can be safe and happy. She's quite mysterious, Sheila, but I do love her.
Yeah, not all he seems to be. Ends up trying to double-cross the Detectorists. And we also introduced Lance's daughter. It's a bit of a secret to begin with.
Kate's new to the series, obviously, and at the start of the series you don't really know who she is, it's all a bit mysterious, but later on we find out that she's actually Lance's daughter from about 20 years back, and he's always known about her but he's never met her, and this is the first time, and it's awkward, and it's, you know, as it should be when you meet your dad for the first time and you're 20 years old, or how I'm imagining that to be. That didn't happen to me. But yeah, she's lovely and she's from Ireland. She's very different to everyone that we know already because obviously they all sort of lead a similar life, whereas this girl has obviously had some trouble with her mother and just decided to get up and go and meet Dad. I do quite a lot of TV. I've only ever done one play and a few films. I do quite a bit of comedy, so this is sort of just a nice addition, a really nice addition, working with incredible people. It's funny at the minute because I'm doing 2 jobs at the same time. So I'm doing quite a heavy drama for Sky when I'm not shooting on this. So there's days where I'll go away and play a 15-year-old girl whose life is just a mess, and then I come here and I play a 20-year-old Kate who's just met her dad and everything's fine. But yeah, TV is where I belong, really. My day's been a bit of a funny one because it's my first day, so we're sort of preempting everything. Sometimes it's tricky, because I've done a few shows before where it's the second series, everything is so grounded already. Everyone already has such close relationships, whereas with this one it's just been so welcoming and lovely. I feel really comfortable here. Maybe it's dangerous. I mean, I've got to leave soon, like this will end. But yeah, it's lovely. It's really nice.
My name is Toby Jones and I play Lance Stater. Come to terms with the end of his marriage in a way that he hadn't come to terms in the last series. He has at the same time he's got a new obsession. So in that sense he has something he's still longing for, and obviously his obsession with metal detecting is undimmed. So some things have been resolved and some things haven't. Their relationship, his key relationship with Andy, that comes up under a bit more pressure in this series, but not because they get frustrated with each other, more I think because their circumstances change quite considerably. A typical filming day usually involves a very early start, and I'm there most of the day because it's rarely a scene that either Mackenzie or I aren't in. And this time, the way the schedule worked, it was just that anything I wasn't in was filmed before I arrived. So, yeah, every day is pretty much the same. I just leave early and come back late and grab something to eat. And then there's usually a lot of lines to learn because conveniently Mackenzie has contrived 2 characters where one character speaks and his character doesn't. So it means that I have a lot of line learning to do.
Oh, he's a tyrant. He's an absolute nightmare. Yeah, if you get a word wrong, he's sacked 4 people already this week. It's terrible. You know what he's like. He's an animal. He's an animal.
Mackenzie's amazing and very laid back, and he'll just give you a nod or a wink and you'll go, I think that was okay, thinks that was okay. Or he'll sidle up and give you a note, and he's just very laid back and very present. Of course, for him, he's in it too, very much so. It must be really challenging, that I think, to maintain his objective eye, but he seems to do it incredibly well and very calmly.
You know, everyone says it's pleasure, and I think that's because most actors find that working with successful actor-directors is really pleasurable, because obviously the director knows the kind of pressures you're under. But Mackenzie's unusual because I think he exhibits so much confidence in his actors, and indeed in his DP and in the general process, that he appears to be relaxed to the point of non-committal. But actually what it is he's just been very clear in the scripts about what's required, very clear in the casting, and he has very good assistance from the producers and from the cameraman.
I think he's a fantastic director as an actor as well, so it's just that bit easier to communicate, I think, a little bit. Can speak to him slightly differently to normal. He kind of vetoes all our ad-libbing though, doesn't he?
Your ad-libbing?
Yeah, my ad-libbing. Not too keen on that.
It's only because I need the money that I'm here at all.
He was always great at it.
Yeah, he's really fair and he always
So
asks
good.
your opinion. He's a really fair director. I think this series, though, I feel like he feels more confident.
He's that, yeah,
He
of
feels more
course,
confident,
yeah.
in like the nicest
Because it's
possible way.
received really well, so I think it's a bit more relaxed. And
Yeah, and I think he knows us better as well. So it feels. I feel more relaxed on this series for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I said after the last one, never again, but, you know, he's got some pictures and I'd rather they didn't get on the internet, so, you know.
So I have to admit, when I'm doing the scenes that I'm not, when there's scenes where I'm not in them and I can concentrate on the directing, I really enjoy that, and I'd like to do more of that in future. Perhaps the next project that I do, you know, I won't be in it. It's a bit uncomfortable watching myself on screen, but as you say, I have to do that in between takes. And Adam, our producer, I've asked him to give me notes on my performance, because it's quite difficult sometimes to look at your own performance and decide whether or not that's good.
My name's Jackie Vernon, costume designer. On this show, we're working to a colour scheme agreed with Mackenzie, and all the colours are kind of faded and washed out and have a slight retro feel to it. I've had meetings with camera department, makeup, and we've agreed a colour scheme for the whole series. How I start is I do my reference. I love doing the reference part of the job. You know, so I've been studying lots of detecting magazines, seeing how it's really to get them looking real. That's what we were after for this series. Have meetings with Adam, producer, and Mackenzie, director. So we get together and we do go for the characters. And once they've cast a person, then, you know, we get a clearer idea of, you know, little sort of quirks that would be interesting to put into the character. And the interesting with this one is that it being comedy, but we want it to look real. They're all wearing these fleece jackets today. That's a bit of a joke as well. The DMDC logo on them. So the joke is that they've all had to wear their fleeces today, even although we're in really hot weather.
Good touch, isn't it? That was Jackie's idea. That was brilliant.
On Sheila's, her character Sheila, we've put a nice little brooch. So it's all the little details that some people will notice, other people won't.
Today and tomorrow we're doing the club rally, the DMDC club rally. Usually detectives go out on their own, but once a year they'll gather together and it's a sort of a competition day. Everyone detects in the same field, and then there's prizes for the best find in different categories. So that's what this is. It's that sort of the highlight of the MDC year.
Terry's giving a little speech to the beginning of the day. They've got permission to excavate or to detect on land that's never been. We've got a new territory, and they believe that there's a Luftwaffe aircraft in there. So it's quite exciting. They've got people from other clubs as well to come down, and he's very excited about that.
3, 2, 1, action!
So, what we have got here is the wreckage of a Second World War German Junkers Ju-88 that we have managed to save from Nighthawks. Now, as you can see, we've already started to take off the top layer so we can see what's left of the plane. Now, Russell and Hugh are going to be working solely on this. Now, the rest of you are free to wander wherever you like within the fields clearly marked on your maps. Well, it just remains for me to say, have a great day. Get your coils to the soil, enjoy your metal detecting, and may you all, by the end of the day, have danced the gold dance.
And cap, please.
Yeah, the thing is that you're all very serious about this hobby, and when you're doing it, you're just
you've got your earphones on, you're staring at the ground and you're listening to these little pips and squeaks that are coming out, and you're completely focused. And there's a way of swinging it. Okay, so if you want to sort of a 3-second sweep across like that, and then a little step forward, and you're just going like this, and you're covering all the ground. You want each sweep to overlap the next one, so that you're not missing any ground. So if you were going like this, then you've missed out that whole. So it's covering all the ground, and then making sure this is the coil, making sure the coil is as flat to the ground as it can be.
I think Mackenzie found an old 17th century piece of a bell like the other day. So to know that you can actually literally just go out and find something like that.
And we were filming in a car park the other day, and I had my detectors on, and I found the first ever thing, which was that. I don't know how much that's worth, but I found it. I dropped it now. I'll probably never find it again.
I do a bit of detecting on, when I'm on set, because it's a great way to fill in the time between shots. I'm not as committed as Mackenzie. I mean, he's found some great stuff on this job. But it's totally addictive. I mean, it's the sort of thing that if I were a bit younger and didn't have other hobbies, I wouldn't become totally addicted.
It's cool, and I remember there was a time in my life when I was about, very early teens, where it became a cool thing for kids to like get a metal detector for Christmas, but no, I never. No.
I'm so tempted now, yeah. The props, and I think with a huge influence from Mackenzie, they lay out these amazing finds tables, and actually it really does tickle you into thinking, my God, what is down there? And I'm going to save up, I think, for a detecting device. Sheila wouldn't, but I think I might.